And so SpongeBob creates DoodleBob. Chat, Patrick meet DoodleBob SquarePants. And this thing is just, again, it's like at first it's kind of cute, but the more you look at it, it just looks sad and demented and derpy, chat. And like they try to communicate with it, and this thing doesn't know how to exist in this world because they're like, "Hi, you want to play with us?" And he's like, "Hobble bobble."
SpongeBob SquarePants!
Very nice. But now, chat, we got to go ahead and get to my own reviews today. Some of these films I review in the future. But now, chat, we got to go ahead and do a TV review, chat. All right? Yes. So, as you know, typically every Friday I do a TV review. If you want me to do a TV review of your choice, just donate 1,000 biddies, chat. I'll add to the list and I'll review it one day in the future. And now I'm going to be doing one that was requested of me, which I know you guys have wanted me to do for quite some time. SpongeBob Season 2, Episode 14, Frankendoodle. More specifically, Frankendoodle, chat. So I remember watching this episode when it debuted on Nickelodeon, chat, because, you know, I watched, like, I remember when SpongeBob first debuted back in 1999. I think even the first episode was what SpongeBob, like, getting the job at the Krusty Krab, if I recall correctly. And I had watched, I guess, you know, the first 4 or 5 seasons of the series, I want to say. And then I guess they did the first movie, and Scarlett Johansson was a voice in the movie. She played like the what's his name, Neptune's young daughter and everything. And then after I saw the movie, I just dropped out of SpongeBob. Not to say like it was bad or anything. I don't know. I moved on to other shows and other cartoons and other properties. And that eventually happens, when you get like a long-running cartoon series, you know, unless it just ends or they cancel it, you know, before it's time. It keeps going. I get it. SpongeBob is one of the biggest hits in Nickelodeon's history, if not the biggest hit in Nickelodeon's history, and still on to this day. 20 years old, chat, over 20 years, which is pretty incredible. And I'm not going to say anything negative about the latter seasons because I haven't seen them. I don't know if they've gotten worse. I don't know if they've gotten better, if they stayed the same. Hope they at least stayed the same in quality or if not gotten better, chat. I did see the second SpongeBob movie, which I thought was really fucking funny. I was like very impressed with that. And I didn't see the most recent one because I just didn't like the animation change. And I know they have a spin-off show right now, which is CGI, where was it SpongeBob Camp Coral, where they're all kids. But it's not canon, I think, or whatever, because, like, Sandy's there, and it's like, that doesn't make any sense, because Sandy met them, like, in the animated series when she came in later, so it's kind of weird. They do that. I guess they have that one right now, and I think there's, like, is there, like, a spinoff, is there, like, a Patrick show? I don't know if there's, like, a Patrick show right now. I feel like that. I've always said I would love a Squidward show because as I've gotten older, I think a lot of us, we identify with Squidward a lot. And he's like my favorite character in that series. He's just so goddamn funny. But then they got the Patrick Star show too, which I have not seen at all. I don't know anything about that one. I don't think I've even seen any clips. I don't even know what the premise is of that. But I still say let's get a Squidward show. But I've always liked SpongeBob, at least of what I have seen. I can't speak for anything other than the second movie, anything post the original film, because I just don't know. But I can say, chat, Season 2 SpongeBob, that's some good fucking cartoon content, chat. And of course, Season 2, Episode 14, Frankendoodle, is one of the best episodes in the series, chat. I don't think that's an unpopular opinion. Introducing the character, the villain, DoodleBob. Ahoy me noy, hobble bobble. Amazing character, so funny and kind of scary as well, very disturbing, which SpongeBob has always had like an disturbing-esque content. I mean, like a lot of shows that were coming out in the late 90s and also in the 2000s, heavily influenced by Ren and Stimpy, Chad. And you can tell, like, even the animation, certain cutaway gags and things, like, very influenced by Ren and Stimpy. And certainly in this episode, because it's so weird and disturbing and, and kind of sad. But before I go ahead and get into the nitty-gritty details of this episode, how many of you have seen SpongeBob Season 2, Episode 14, Frankendoodle, chat? Introducing the villainous DoodleBob. Very curious about that. Very curious about that. Hamburger says, oh, yes. Cristiano says, absolutely. Yeah, my fellow millennials, you have seen this content. You know what I'm talking about, chat. Leslie River says, me, good to see you, Alec. Hope you're doing well. Loco, here, one of my favorite SpongeBob episodes. This is regarded as one of the best SpongeBob episodes, chat. Even I was looking up, like, what's the best SpongeBob episodes? This is always in the top 10. Of the 20 years the show has gone. They mentioned maybe some other ones. I always love the ones with Squidward, especially the one where he, like, travels back in time. Fucking fantastic episode. And also the one where he moves away and goes to that squid community and becomes increasingly more miserable as time goes on. All the Squidward episodes are fantastic. Casby says several times. Cristiano says, this gal, fun fact, the artist who dropped the pencil was Doug Lawrence himself, a.k.a. the voice of Plankton. I knew that was him because I recognized his voice. So that was cool. I watched the whole series my entire life. Wow. Only seen clips. Really, Mr. Yes, never seen clips. Wow. At least the SpongeBob creator is not a creep like the Rinse. Yeah, thank God for that. And he passed away. I know that he passed away too, which is sad. Austin, future. It's just so weird. Everybody's like, huh? You know what we're talking about, Naya Brown. You know the DoodleBobs. Look, I mean, who the hell goes out to the middle of the ocean just to paint? He needs inspiration, man. He needs that inspiration. Sometimes it hits you in a certain environment. It brings out, the creative juices in your brain sack. I've seen it like a million times. Look, I also like Band Geeks. That's another good one. No, Band Geeks is definitely up there. That is well loved. That is well loved. So maybe I haven't seen it. Oh my God. Wow, it's crazy. Never, I don't know. So it's kind of crazy. I thought like, I'm like, oh, you guys, because a lot of you, well, a lot of us are the same age, if not a little younger. I figured that most of you would have seen this episode. So I'm kind of surprised we have some people in the chat who have not seen this. But as I said, chat, I remember when SpongeBob first came out in 1999. And, of course, when they had this episode, I watched it the first time, and I thought it was fucking hilarious. I love the DoodleBob character. And he's still in existence today. He's still in the pop culture zeitgeist chat in the form of videos and memes and GIFs and everything. So, yeah, he's an iconic character and apparently has lived on in the SpongeBob series. There are other DoodleBob episodes, but I have not seen them. I don't even know. I'm only aware of, like, this one. So it's kind of nuts that he's been in other ones. I thought he was like, oh, one and done. It was like lightning in a fucking bottle. We're not going to touch it because it's just too perfect. But apparently there have been other DoodleBob episodes. I just haven't seen them. But now, chat, let's go ahead and get into the nitty-gritty details. We start above Bikini Bottom, chat, above the ocean on the surface where apparently everything is in live action. And we have an artist on a boat. And he has been struggling his entire life. His dad, his mom, all of his relatives, they said, you'll never become an artist. You're a loser. And he's like, I have inspiration. It's within me. And in order to become inspired, Chad, he rows out in his little rowboat out in the middle of the sea. And that's when, boom, like a fucking lightning bolt, inspiration hits him, Chad. And he has his goddamn paper on his stand, Chad. He has his number 2, not number 1, Chad, number 2 pencil, and he instantly starts drawing. This inspiration has hit him. But then all of a sudden, Chad, he's fucking drawing so quickly. He's just filled with inspiration juice. His hands, it gets all shaky, and the pencil, he loses his grip on the pencil, and it falls into the water, Chad. Apparently, pencils, they're just like fucking anchors, Chad. They don't float. I guess they just don't float. They just go down. He just goes down into the ocean, down to the sea. And he's like, no! It's like, why didn't you bring an extra pencil, dude? He brought one exact pencil. I imagine it's because his mom and dad and relatives and friends were just constantly so negative. He didn't have it on his mind to bring extra writing utensils, chat. So I feel very sorry for this guy. But always bring a spare, as the narrator says in this episode, Chad, the very French narrator. Always bring a spare pencil. Always bring a spare writing utensil. We then cut to SpongeBob SquarePants and Patrick Star. They're just sitting right on, their front lawn, Chad, their sandy lawns, and you're blowing bubbles. One of the SpongeBobs, he loves jellyfishing. He loves fry cooking, chat. Okay? One of his other favorite activities is blowing bubbles, chat. And he's blowing bubbles with one Patrick Star. And not just, blowing little, like, regular bubbles. No. They're doing, like, rock, paper, scissors blowing bubbles, chat. So at this point, fucking SpongeBob, he blows a pair of scissors. He's like, remember that scene in The Lord of the Rings? in the Fellowship chat when Gandalf and Bilbo are just getting high on the old Toby on that Hobbit pipe smoke. And like Bilbo does these really good smoke rings, and then Gandalf's like, hey, I'm gonna show you up because I'm like 500 years old and I'm like ethereal, and he creates like this entire goddamn ship that goes through Bilbo's smoke ring. That's kind of what this scene reminded me of, because SpongeBob is able to blow like these scissors, while Patrick, he just blows a sheet of paper, and SpongeBob just cuts right into it. It's like, no, scissors beats paper, and Patrick's like, ugh. And then SpongeBob then blows a piece of paper, but then Patrick also blows a piece of paper. And SpongeBob's like, fuck, Patrick, why do you always keep blowing bubbles of paper? Because Patrick is an idiot. That's why, Chad. But all of a sudden, as they're playing rock, paper, and scissors with bubbles, Chad, they see like, oh, what's that? And they see the fucking pencil, Chad. It's not floating down because physics are weird in the world of Bikini Bottom, Chad. Like, there's literally an ocean that they can go swim in Bikini Bottom, yet they live in the ocean. And also fire can exist down here too. It doesn't make any sense, but you just gotta go with it, Chad. It's like, okay, whatever. But we see this scissor coming down, cuts right through their bubble paper, Chad, almost just slices into both SpongeBob and Patrick, Chad, but they yeet themselves out of the way before they can do so. And they're like, whoa, what is that? And they pick it up, and it's like, oh, it's a giant fucking pencil. And SpongeBob's like, oh, Patrick, let's draw stuff. Patrick's like, okay, SpongeBob. And so then SpongeBob, and he's drawing something, he's doodling something, if you will. And Patrick's like, what are you doodling? And SpongeBob's like, look, I made a jellyfish, Patrick. And he's like, that's shit. He literally says, SpongeBob, you are the worst artist I've ever seen. Stop it. He's just like that guy's parents on the surface, chat. But SpongeBob, even though he's had some self-esteem issues, he's like, come on, Patrick, whatever. But then as SpongeBob turns around to, chastise Patrick, or, SpongeBob to address, Patrick's chastising, the fucking drawing they just made on the ground instantly comes to life. And Patrick's like, SpongeBob, your drawing has come alive. He's like, there you go. See? Yeah, tough critic, my ass. And he's like, no, SpongeBob, literally, it's alive. And we see this fucking jellyfish start swimming away, and SpongeBob's like, this must be destroyed, and he erases it, and he's like, oh my god, Patrick, this pencil, this is not just a regular pencil coming from the heavens above. This is a magic pencil. We can create things, we can give life to things. And they're just fucking amazed by it. They can't believe it. And Patrick's like, well, that's so fucking cool. I can finally have body hair. I have been just smooth. I have been smooth as a newborn baby my entire life, SpongeBob. Draw me a mustache. SpongeBob's like, okay, Patrick. And he draws a mustache on Patrick, and he's like, I am now a man. But then the mustache comes to life, Chad, and crawls over Patrick's face and flies away. It flies away. And Patrick's like, well, easy come, easy go. We then go to the abode, Chad. I love that Squidward lives in those Eastern Island heads. Always like that. It's kind of like him too, his big dumb bald head. But he goes in there, and Squidward, he is again suffering from depression. He is just overwhelmed by life, Chad. He feels underappreciated. And he's just looking in the mirror, looking at his sad sack of a face. And he's like, Squidward, you're handsome. You're talented. The only thing that you lack, the only thing that women desire and demand of you is to have a full head of hair. And all of a sudden, Chad, the Patrick Star mustache lands on Squidward's head. And he's like, it happened. I have hair. And he's so happy, Chad. He feels complete for the first time in his life. Everything's coming up Squidward. We then come back to Patrick and SpongeBob. And Patrick's like, give me the pencil. He takes the pencil, chat, and he also wants to draw a jellyfish, but then he draws like this abomination Squidward jellyfish that's always going, it just looks like it wants to die. And it suddenly kind of starts crawling away, and SpongeBob panics. It's like, Patrick, we can't have this fucking weird abomination crawling the town. It needs to be destroyed. And Patrick's like, okay, and they just fucking kill it, and this thing goes, it just screeches in horrible pain. Like, being erased, chat, just it's a painful process, and so they erase him. But then SpongeBob is like, hey, Patrick, I have an idea. Let's prank Squidward. He's like, that sounds good, SpongeBob. And so SpongeBob takes the pencil, and they then go to Squidward's front porch where he has this green kind of like mat that says like go away or whatever. And so SpongeBob's like, he draws like some money, He draws like, a dollar bill or something, or a $10 bill. And then he has a line that's tied to the dollar bill, and they go behind to the side of Squidward's house. They ring the doorbell, knock on the door, and SpongeBob's like, "Hey, Squidward, it's me, SpongeBob. Come here." Squidward's like, "Oh, fuck." And he's about to go out and show off his new hair, gonna go for a nice leisurely walk at the park. It's like he doesn't want to deal with SpongeBob, and he opens the door. He's like, "SpongeBob, get the fuck off my property." But then he looks down, he goes, "Why, hello, well, this is indeed my lucky day." And he goes to pick up the dollar bill, chat, but then SpongeBob pulls at the last minute, causing Squidward to then fall down on his face, probably breaking his nose, and he's going, he's just crying and shit. And he's like, "SpongeBob," and right before, it's like, oh, could it get any worse for Squidward? Yes, because then his little toupee of hair starts to fly away. He's like, "No, my hair! I was a man for the first time in my life." And then SpongeBob and Patrick are like, they're laughing at him. He's like, "Oh," but he doesn't even have time to chastise them or even insult them, chap, because depression immediately kicks back in, and he just goes and wallows in sadness in his own home. I feel bad for Squidward here. He deserved to have that toupee, chat. I think he was going to turn his life around finally at this point. But then, after that, chat, SpongeBob's like, "You know what, Patrick, it'd be really cool if we can keep pranking Squidward just to make him even more depressed." And it's like, "What if I create a fake version of me?" And Patrick's like, "You think that's a safe thing, SpongeBob?" He's like, "No, Patrick, don't worry about it." And so SpongeBob creates DoodleBob, chat. Patrick, meet DoodleBob SquarePants. And this thing is just, again, it's like, at first it's kind of cute, but the more you look at it, it just looks sad and demented and derpy, chat. And like, they try to communicate with it, and this thing doesn't know how to exist in this world, because they're like, "Hi, you want to play with us?" And he's like, "Habba babba." I mean, he's like, he I feel like his every second, every millisecond of his being is in horrible pain, chat. Like, look at his anatomy. He's got like 2 fucked up right feet. He has a hand that's just 3 nubs. His right hand is just fucking 3 nubs. Like, there's something wrong with this thing. And it's very much, I mean, it's like the name of this episode is Frankendoodle, named after, of course, Frankenstein. You can think of the 1931 film. Hell, we'll even go back to the Mary Shelley novel, chat. It's like Dr. Frankenstein, Victor or Henry, whichever version you want to say, he created life, but he didn't understand how to be a father to this thing. He didn't think farther. It's like, you got to educate this thing. You got to introduce it to this world, because it doesn't understand things. And it has this body of a very, you know, in the case of Frankenstein, this giant of a man that's also disformed and malformed. And it's the same for DoodleBob, chat, where this thing is malformed, doesn't know anything about this world, and it's being tasked with abusing and tricking another organism. And at that point, it's like, well, of course it's gonna fucking lose control and start murdering everything in sight. That's how this goes. And so SpongeBob takes DoodleBob, and he rings the doorbell. He's like, "All right, DoodleBob, you just talk to Squidward and make fun of him and stuff." And DoodleBob's like, "Habba babble." And so then Squidward opens the door, and Squidward sees DoodleBob, mistaking him for SpongeBob, and Squidward does the thing which he usually would do in the circumstances, like, "SpongeBob, leave me the fuck alone. You're a piece of shit. I hate you." And DoodleBob is absorbing all of this rage, which he's not responsible for what happened earlier. He doesn't know. I don't blame Squidward either. SpongeBob, from the beginning, SpongeBob and Patrick are in the wrong throughout this entire episode, chat. And so at this point, DoodleBob just the only thing he knows is something is screaming at him, and he wants the yelling to stop. He's like, and he fucking grabs Squidward and just starts beating him, chat. Just starts beating him. And SpongeBob and Patrick are like, "No, stop hurting Squidward." And they have to drag DoodleBob. Off of Squidward. Squidward he's just broken, and his fucking face is mad. He just drags himself into his house, closes the door, as DoodleBob just loses his goddamn mind, which you expect to, chat. He's a newborn, and all he's experienced so far in his life is constant and consistent manipulation from SpongeBob and Patrick, and screaming from Squidward. It's just not a healthy environment. And so he fucking freaks, and he has that just, I don't know. Maybe in his dimension, he's the regular same as SpongeBob. Here, he's very strong and powerful. And he smacks Patrick, and he smacks SpongeBob, and he grabs the pencil and goes, "Hoi me no!" And he runs away. He runs away with the magic pencil. And SpongeBob is like, "Patrick, we need to kill him. We need to kill it. We got to get it." And so eventually they track him down. And they see that he has drawn himself a house. He has drawn himself a poorly constructed pineapple house, which I imagine is kind of like the mirror image, the mirrored, bastardized image of SpongeBob's own home. And they're like, "Okay, this is fine. We'll just go in there. We'll fucking bum rush him. We'll beat him. We'll hold him down, and we'll race him. Okay, it's the only thing. We have to kill this thing." So they run up, but fucking DoodleBob, he hears them, highway, he hears them, opens the door, does like an ethereal like screech, like it's like oh my god, and he manages to draw this huge pit in front of his door. And SpongeBob and Patrick, they can't stop running. They trip over themselves and they fall into the pit, and they come to, and DoodleBob, he's just looking down them going, "Hi, Mo," and he's like screeching. It's like, I don't think he wants to kill me. He doesn't even know what to do with them once they're in the pit, because he doesn't even know what he is. And they're like, "All right, listen, we just gotta climb up there. We'll just try to avoid him." But then DoodleBob, he just starts dropping things on Patrick. Like, he starts drawing objects, like heavy objects, and throwing them at Patrick. And Patrick's like, he keeps getting hit. While SpongeBob's just trying to avoid them as much as possible, chat. It's just a goddamn nightmare. Eventually, they do get out of the pit, chat. They do get out of the pit, and they take the pencil from DoodleBob. They trick him, trying to like befriend him. It's like, "Hey, it's okay. Don't worry. Everything's going to be fine." He's a hobble bobble. Hoi me no. He's like, "Hoi me no." And they take the pencil, and SpongeBob freaks the fuck out. And he just starts, he erases him. And DoodleBob is in horrible, horrific pain. Because like half his body's gone. And then SpongeBob just starts, go. He just erases him, Chad, until he is no more. Until he's no more. Even Patrick's like, "SpongeBob, stop. He's dead. Stop. He's dead." And SpongeBob's like, "Oh, thank God. Thank God, Patrick. I hated to have to do that, but he needed to end. The hobble bobble needed to end." Patrick's like, "Agreed. Well, now we can remember him. Well, this is a valuable lesson to us, SpongeBob. We should not bring life into this world that does not want to live. We should not bring these interdimensional beings to our plane of existence. 2D should not exist in a 3D environment." And SpongeBob's like, "Agreed, Patrick. Well, listen, I'm going to go to bed because it's been a very stressful day. I'm going to take the magic pencil right now, all right? But you have a good night." Patrick's like, "Agreed." As they walk back to their homes, chat, we do see that a bit of DoodleBob has survived. And his severed arm, chat, apparently is in horrible pain. And all it knows, all it desires, chat, is to go after SpongeBob. "I need to kill my creator. Hoi me noi." And it drags itself for hours. Because it doesn't, it can only sense where its creator is, chat. And so this thing can only move so much, but like dropping from exhaustion, dragging itself slowly towards SpongeBob's home for hours. SpongeBob, we cut. He has continued to abuse the pencil. He has created himself a lavish bedroom, chat. He has curtains. He has new blankets. He has fucking tapestries, chat. Who has tapestries? It's not the Middle Ages. And he's like, "Well, good night, Gary. I'm going to go to bed." He's even given a crown to Gary, chat. He's like, "Meow." And SpongeBob goes to bed. And then finally, chat, the severed arm has made its way to SpongeBob, his home, manages to open the door after great effort, and just slinks inside, going up. At one point, it actually stops to go to the bathroom, chat. I don't know how. Maybe at one point, SpongeBob like drew an asshole on DoodleBob, but he fucked up and he put the asshole on the arm. Imagine, Chad, that you're this creature and the way in which you defecate and urinate is through like your arm. That sounds just like a nightmare, Chad. So it shits everywhere because it doesn't know where it's going. It doesn't understand how to use a bathroom. And eventually, it drags itself into SpongeBob's room, spots the pencil that's right on SpongeBob's pillow. SpongeBob's sleeping with it like it's a lustful sexual object of desire. But then DoodleBob knows I need the pencil, grabs the pencil, and then begins to reconstruct himself, chat. Until he's like, oh, and SpongeBob wakes up. He's like, oh no, the nightmare continues. And he's like, DoodleBob, how? It's not possible. And he's like, me not DoodleBob, me SpongeBob. He's learned strength, chat. It's like when Frankenstein's monster first learned to speak, and he's like, we belong dead. And this thing is like, I'm SpongeBob, you dead, Bob. And SpongeBob's like, oh, and he fucking then. It's like a home invasion movie, chat, where SpongeBob is running around his house as DoodleBob is trying to kill him with the pen, trying to erase him, because the eraser also works on beings within this dimension as well. And so SpongeBob is just running through the house at one point, and he hides in his kitchen, slams the doors to his kitchen so DoodleBob can't get in. DoodleBob just erases the door, and he literally erases SpongeBob's ass cheeks, chat. Like, his asshole is gone, and so SpongeBob is like, I'm so filled with feces, I can't. Where's the poop gonna go? Where's the poop gonna go? We don't know, chat, at this point. And SpongeBob's like, please, I'm sorry. And, like, they're fighting over the pencil at one point, and SpongeBob just, they both crack the pencil. SpongeBob has the pencil portion, while DoodleBob has the eraser portion. And fucking SpongeBob is like, let's duel, motherfucker. Well, apparently, one of the abilities of DoodleBob is to form his mouth into like this circular saw, which is kind of horrifying. And he manages to take the broken pencil and to also just reform the pencil, but much shorter. And DoodleBob's like, well, I will have you know that my high school graduating class said that I am quite skilled in duels to the death. And then he accidentally, like, when he's about to do On Guard, he lets go of the fucking pencil and just yeets itself out a fucking window. And he's like, oh shit, actually, they may have voted me most clumsy. And so at this point, DoodleBob just starts, like, messing up SpongeBob. He's, like, trying to hit him and things. SpongeBob's trying to back up. Gary's just watching in the corner, just gonna, like, whatever happens, I'm gonna eat whatever the hell dies afterwards. That's just how it is with Gary. He doesn't give a shit, Jack. Gary does not love SpongeBob. He's a fucking snail. He'll eat you no matter what. SpongeBob eventually backs up to his bookshelf. He hits the bookshelf, and all these books and papers start coming down. It's like it's raining and things. And DoodleBob steps on one of these pieces of paper, chat, and his foot fuses with the paper until he starts to be absorbed into it. He's like, hobble, 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 hobble. He's in horrible pain. And sometimes realizes, like, oh my God, paper's his weakness. I need to put this two-dimensional being on paper to entrap them. And so SpongeBob grabs this DoodleBob size book, the book that's big as SpongeBob, and he's like, hey, DoodleBob. DoodleBob's like, hobble, hobble. He's like, see you later, motherfucker. And he closes the book on him, Chad, and DoodleBob's like, ah! And then he's trapped in the book. But the thing is, though, Chad, DoodleBob realizes, like, this is where I should be. Death. I needed to embrace death's sweet embrace. And now, finally, Chad, he's happy because when SpongeBob opens up the book, we see DoodleBob. He looks miserable, but then a face smiles on, like a smile forms on his face because the pain and the misery has finally stopped. And SpongeBob's like, oh, fucking thank God. He takes the rest of the pencil and he don't worry, Chet. SpongeBob he's not going to be just filled with feces. He does draw an ass and an asshole again for himself, so he's fine. Patrick then, SpongeBob also takes the DoodleBob picture and he frames it on the wall. Patrick comes over. He's like, "What's all the craziness last night, SpongeBob?" And he's like, "Oh, Patrick, DoodleBob came back and he tried to kill me, but then I trapped in the piece of paper and he's on my wall right now." And Patrick goes to the wall and goes, "Oh my God, he's fucking hideous. He's even more disturbing here than he ever was." But he's just literally looking at a picture of SpongeBob on the wall, not actual DoodleBob. It's like, haha, SpongeBob, you're hideous and ugly looking. And then SpongeBob's like, "Listen, Patrick, we got to get rid of this pencil. It cannot exist in our world. It's too dangerous." And Patrick, who is dumb as a fucking rock, says, "You're right. We got to get rid of this." And so at this point, and very gross, SpongeBob then inserts the pencil into Patrick's mouth. He just kind of vores a little bit, just gets it in there. SpongeBob then goes up a ladder, jumps off the ladder, this diving board attached to this ladder, jumps into the belly of Patrick's store, and he vomits up the pencil, and it shoots up into the surface, chat. And fucking Patrick and SpongeBob, they wave goodbye to the pencil saying, bon voyage, please do not curse our society and our civilization with your dark, evil magic. We then cut to the artist who is still sad about his parents not loving him, and he is in the fetal position. And then all of a sudden, he hears them go, and the pencil shoots out of the ocean and lands back in the boat. He's like, my pencil! And he's just about to start drawing again until the pencil, the graphite pointset snaps. It breaks it. And he's like, no, there was time now, no! And the narrator is like, always bring a sharpener. And that, my friends, is my scene by scene by scene breakdown chat to DoodleBob's SpongeBob Season 2, Episode 14, Frankendoodle, or as I prefer to call it, chat, the tragedy of DoodleBob. And thus, the artist at sea learns the second important lesson. Always bring a pencil sharpener. It's true. It's so poetic, Casper. It's so sad. But it's a hilarious episode, chat. Highly recommend checking it out if you've not had done so. All these episodes, I believe, are on Amazon if you have Amazon Prime. Or at least most of the season, at least the one I looked at. Season 1 through 2 are at least up there, chat. Very, very funny. I wouldn't say DoodleBob. I guess not, because apparently he comes back, chat. I don't know in what seasons. It must have been like long before or long after I had stopped watching it. Because I stopped watching really after the first movie. I watched the second film, but I didn't see anything else in between then. So he must come back. He must come back in some form, chat. I think there's an episode, because I was looking at DoodleBob episodes, see if it was online for free or something, and it is. And there were like several other DoodleBob episodes. I think where even Patrick and SpongeBob and Squidward go to DoodleBob's dimension. There was a whole bunch of doodle people of them. So I don't know. So you got that, chat. Thank you. The tragedy of DoodleBob. 10 out of 10. Thank you so much, Chris. Here's Matt. What's on Paramount Plus? There you go. It's also what you can all get through Amazon. Now it's been it though, because I do have Paramount Plus. So you have Paramount Plus, chat. That's the way to watch it.